Hello and happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Library of Jen. Today is Wednesday. It is the third day of the reading rush. It feels like a Wednesday. I made coffee this morning and then I forgot that I made coffee and I let it go cold. I hate that. So I just made some more coffee, so hopefully that improves my day because, man, I need some coffee today. So yesterday I finished The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and if you watch my day 2 vlog, you can hear all about what I felt about that. That book is phenomenal, and now that I've had the night to let things set in, I still think that book was phenomenal, and I'm really, really glad that I started with it, and I'm glad that I finally got around to reading it. It had been on my shelf for a very long time, so, I'm glad that I finally got it off of my ever-growing TBR list for physical books, and I'm glad that I finally got into something that wasn't fantasy or teen. So I'm very happy with how that went, and I'm excited for the rest of this reading rush and everything else that's going on. I did start Wonder Woman last night. I am not even a chapter in, maybe a chapter in, so only like 10 pages. I am going to listen to the audiobook a little bit today and try to get through some of that. This one's another long one. The audiobook itself is, I think, 11 hours at normal speed, so I'm hoping I can get it done in a day, maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. I think I might try and pick up one of the other books and kind of do 2 books at once, listen to a little the other one. We'll see how it goes, but that's my plan for today. I'm going to give that a try, and I will update you as it goes. Okay, so it's almost 10 o'clock on day 3 of the reading rush, and I am about 67% of the way done with Wonder Woman Warbringer. I don't think I'm going to get it done tonight. I've got a little under 4 hours left in the audiobook, so it's probably not going to happen tonight, but it definitely will tomorrow morning. But I'm going to read a little bit more before I go to bed, but I think I'm going to call it quits on vlogging today. I know I haven't had as many updates today, but it's been kind of crazy with work, so I was just kind of listening to the audiobook and getting some stuff done. I also tried to get a little bit of packing done today as well. So yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I'm enjoying it as much as I did the Batman and the Catwoman book, but I don't think that has anything to do with the actual story or the writing. I think it has to do with, I don't like Wonder Woman as a character, I think. I think what it is with Batman and with Catwoman, they were both normal people. They had normal lives. They were, masquerading as a vigilante and a villain and all that kinds of stuff. But Wonder Woman is supposed to be this Amazon from this island. She was made of the clay and the earth there. She doesn't know anything about modern society, and it's almost like a trope that I don't enjoy. There's a lot of times in the book where it's things like, she talks that the Amazons study modern society, they study the changes, so she knows about the subway and things like that, but then someone hands her a cell phone and she acts like she has no clue what it is. It's almost like an inconsistency that kind of annoys me, and it feels like it's almost there to be like a cheap joke. There's a couple times where, one of the girls almost gets run over by a bike, like a bicyclist in New York, and Diana, Wonder Woman, her comment is he an enemy? And the other girl's like, no, he's just a New Yorker. It's a funny, cute line, but at the same time, it also kind of feels like it's an easy, cheap line, and I don't enjoy that kind of stuff, especially when it's a lot. but I think it has to do with who the character is. But, Wonder Woman's an iconic character, so everyone knows her backstory and her origin, so it's not like that's something that you could change for a story like this. Other than that, though, I am enjoying the plot overall. So the whole concept of the book is Diana enters a race on the island, and while she's in the middle of the race, she sees a explosion happen on a ship just outside of the barrier for the island, and something in her tells her, some instinct tells her that she has to go and see if there's any survivors. Even though it's against all the rules, she's not supposed to interact with the mortal world, all that stuff, she decides that she's going to go and do it anyway. So she goes out there, and she does find one survivor. It's a girl, and she brings the girl back to the island, which is forbidden. It can make her exiled. Mortals are never supposed to enter the island, but she does it anyway. So she brings this girl back, she saves her, puts her in a cave, and is trying to figure out what to do about it, and basically is gonna plan to just try to get her back to the mortal world as soon as possible, but she needed to save her life. It just felt like the right thing to do. But before she can get her back to the mortal world, the island starts having problems. So on this island, if you don't know anything about Wonder Woman lore, which I honestly didn't really going into this, the island that they're on is like a very peaceful place. They're immortal, they don't get sick, they don't have bad weather, and all of a sudden a bunch of the Amazonians, I guess that's what they're called, fall ill with a fever. The island starts having earthquakes. The sea gets very rough. So they essentially say the island is angry. And no one knows why, because no one knows that Diana has brought this mortal there, but it's because Diana has brought the mortal. So Diana goes to the Oracle on the island and asks how she can save everybody, and the Oracle basically says that you have to get the girl. It comes out that this girl, Aaliyah, that she saved, is not a normal mortal. She is what's called a Warbringer. She is a descendant of Helen of Troy, and basically when she turns 17, she'll come into her powers, which is basically causing destruction. So every major conflict in the world, starting, as far back as people can think, has been caused by a Warbringer coming into her powers. So, the entire Trojan War, World War I, World War II, all that stuff is because of a Warbringer. So Aaliyah is this generation's Warbringer, and if she doesn't die before her 17th birthday, a world war is going to break out. So the Oracle basically tells Diana not to do anything. You need to let Aaliyah die. And Diana says, that's not right. That's not what I want to do. I need to save her. There's got to be a way to break this. So the Oracle tells her that if she gets her to a fountain in Greece, which is the final resting place of Helen, that she can cleanse herself in the fountain or spring. I think it's a spring. She cleanses herself in the spring. She can break the cycle, and no new Warbreakers will be born, or Warbringers will be born, and Aaliyah will be free of her destiny, essentially. So Diana decides that she's going to set off with Aaliyah, and she's going to do this. This will save her friends and family on the island, as well as save Aaliyah, and, she can be the big hero. There's also a whole underplot of Diana's relationship with her mother, where she feels like because she did not acquire her life on the island the same way that all the other Amazons did, which is basically in the mortal world, you fought valiantly, you died, you said the goddess's name before your death, and they brought you there to live a life of peace. But unlike everyone else, Diana was born of the island because her mother, the queen, wanted a child, and so she created her from the clay of the earth, and so everyone kind of has this feeling towards Diana that she doesn't belong there, and it kind of carries over, and so Diana wants to prove herself, prove her worth, and so she thinks that this whole venture will do that. It'll prove her worth. Like I said, overall, I'm enjoying the plotline. I think it's very good. I think it's got some witty banter to it. I love Leigh Bardugo's writing in general. I've loved all of her past stuff, and so I do enjoy this as well. I just think that my issues lie with the characters themselves, and that's not necessarily a fault of Leigh's writing. It's more of a fault of the characters that she's working with, because Wonder Woman is already an established character and people know about her and she already has set character traits. You kind of have to work within a small constraint of things, and so I think trying to tie that into a teen story with a set of new characters, but also keeping to the original source material, it causes some issues. Again, I think it's also more just a kind of humor that I don't enjoy too much. I do enjoy it in small doses, but I think that it's maybe overdone a little bit in this book. But overall, it hasn't ruined the story for me. I am enjoying it. At this point, being 67% of the way in, I'm probably going to call it a 4-star read, whereas Batman and Catwoman were 5 stars. But my line between 4 and 5 stars on this is a little iffy. For all I know, this is going to be a really, really cool ending and tie-in at the end. And, you know, it might end up being a 5-star. I do enjoy the plot, the concept that Helen of Troy, you know, they always call her, it was a face that, I forget the exact phrase, but they always said it was her beauty that was, you know, what caused the Trojan War. So for it to be something other than that, I find kind of cool. I think it's a nice little twist of history there. So I'm going to try to read a little bit more tonight, see if I can get a little bit further into it, but I'm probably going to end up finishing this tomorrow morning. Once I do that, I don't know what I'm going to read. I think I'm going to go to nonfiction. I think I'm going to go on a completely different spectrum. So I'm going to read The Killer Across the Table. That's the story about the FBI agents and serial killer classifications. I think mainly just because I'm really excited to get into that audiobook. So I think I'm going to give that one a try next, and we'll go from there. So yeah, it's been a good couple of days. I am finding myself not getting into a reading slump, which is what I was afraid was going to happen with trying to get myself through as many books as I'm planning. You know, we're on day 3, and I'm 1.5 books in to 6 books. From this point forward, if I can finish a book a day, I'd be meeting my goal. That's probably not going to happen, especially with the move at the end of this week. But you know what? I don't think I'm going to make every book on my list, but that's okay. My goal is to try to just get as many as I can. I knew my goal was ambitious going into this, so I'm just gonna do the best that I can and see where it gets me. So that's it for today. I will update you guys in the morning and let you know what happens. Have a good night, guys.